Hello and welcome to the daily cricket show, Cricket Happenings, with your host Ram. And on this particular daily cricket happening show, it's about Alistair Cook, the England captain, who not only got himself into some great form with a wonderful knock which was still undefeated as he strode on to 244 not out at the with 27 boundaries at the end of the third day's play in the fourth Ashes test match between Australia and England, and also put England on the driver's seat with a lead of 164 runs with just one wicket remaining. And let me tell you, a superb knock from Alistair Cook, and what a way to get into some big form, making up for that three test matches where he failed. And as I rightly told you, the key was Alistair Cook and Joe Root. If at all, England had to avoid the clean sweep, and right now England can also think of winning this test match because they have got a very handy lead of 164. And if Anderson could really provide some good company like what Stuart Broad did in the 100-run partnership, it could be something that England would be looking forward to today. That's on the fourth day of the Ashes Test. So just starting the match summary here as to what happened on the third day's play between Australia and England in the Ashes. Alistair Cook resumed at his overnight score, and he had Joe Root for company. And Joe Root, who has been struggling as well in this particular series to hit his straps, finally did something that was direly wanted by all the English fans, as Joe Root went on to pick up his first 50 of the series, and that was something which would have refreshed him a great deal. As this particular partnership continued from what happened on the previous day, as this partnership strode on, but it was not long before the Aussies actually had a breakthrough, and it was done by Cummins. It was not a good shot from Joe Root. The ball was shot outside the off stump, and Joe Root was tempted into a pull shot by Anderson, by Cummins, the pace bowler. Joe Root obliged with a pull shot, and that resulted in Nathan Lyon 2/3 of the boundary taking the catch. Now it was not a good shot from Joe Root, but it was a big wicket for the Aussies, as they knew that this was the stodgy pair at the crease which could have really frustrated the Aussies. So Joe Root not really playing a shot according to his caliber, I would say, but that's it for Joe Root. Joe Root had to go, caught Lyon, bowled Cummins for 61. The top edge actually carrying over to Nathan Lyon, was gone with 7 boundaries. So that was a very quick breakthrough that the Aussies got. So 218 for 3. The David Mallon came onto the crease, and David Mallon, as he's his bone in this series, we have seen that he really likes to play his strokes. At the other end, Alistair Cook was getting firmer and firmer as he was showing some nice strokes down the ground. If you look at this innings of Alistair Cook, one would see that there were a lot of strokes that he played down the ground, some very good strokes. Normally, one does not associate Alistair Cook with playing shots down the ground, but he definitely showed a different facet of his game, and also one saw that he was picking up runs through the offside as well as the leg side, and he was really not allowing the bowlers to really dominate at all. He dominated the bowlers, and David Mallon, as I said, was looking good after making 14, but then Josh Hazlewood delivery nipped him LBW with 14. As I said, he showed that aggression that was needed, but he was out for 14. So that meant that the England score was 246 for 5, 4 at one stage, from 218 for 3 when Root departed. The score slumped to 246 for 4 as Jonathan Bairstow joined the mix as he went on to join Cook at the crease. Jonathan Bairstow contributed 22 runs with 3 boundaries. Nathan Lyon was bowling very well to Jonathan Bairstow, where he was actually shortening his length. He was making the ball. What was good about Nathan Lyon, he was making the batsman play and basically also getting the batsmen to come and use their feet against him, and that resulted in Jonathan Bairstow nicking one to the man behind the stumps, Tim Payne, and Lyon was the one who gave them the wicket. He was gone for 22 with 3 boundaries, and suddenly this England innings was slumping with Jonathan Bairstow's dismissal as the out of form Moeen Ali joined Alistair Cook. Moeen Ali, he decided that the only way to combat the Aussie bowlers was to really throw his bat round. He did that. He was also peppered with a few short deliveries as well, but Moeen Ali lived very dangerously, one thought. He played one chip shot of the bowling of Nathan Lyon, which was successful, but in the second instance it was not, as he could not keep the ball down, he could not chip it away from the fielder. In fact, he went onto the back foot and tried to chip it over the fielder Sean Marsh, but it resulted in Sean Marsh taking an overhead catch of Nathan Lyon. So once again Nathan Lyon getting the wicket of Moeen Ali, and it was an unimpressive innings from Moeen Ali. He was trying to hit himself out of danger, I would say, but not an impressive innings at all. So Moeen Ali continued his struggle in the Ashes Test series. He was gone for 20 with 2 boundaries and 1 6. So that really made things worse for England as the score at 307 for 6. The only good thing that was happening for them was Alistair Cook was at the crease playing his nice nudges, cuts and pull shots as he was there at the crease. After that, Chris Woakes came in. Chris Woakes gave some amount of company to Alistair Cook, as Chris Woakes collected 26 with 3 boundaries before Cummins had him nicking one to Payne behind the stumps. He was gone, and Tom Curran did not last long, as on his debut he had just 4 runs. He just hit 1 boundary before Hazelwood got the better of him by getting him caught behind by Payne, and that really left this England innings at a score of but the good thing was that England had already taken the lead when Chris Woakes was there, and when Curran was out, the England scored at 373 for 8, and now Australia would have sensed that the end was near, with Broad actually joining Alistair Cook. But one knows that Broad definitely has the ability to play as a good all-rounder, and that's what he precisely did. Well, he definitely did not have a good reception as he came to the wicket, with a few words spoken, as also we saw that the Aussie pace bowlers really went firing at Broad as they started peppering him with lots of short stuff. With Broad, certain times he managed to dispatch it for boundaries, certain times he was hit on the helmet, certain times he evaded the short stuff, as this partnership, Alistair Cook on the other hand was continuing the same vein, playing his strokes as also interspersing it with some very good solid defense. As Stuart Broad was not there just to give company to Alistair Cook. He was making sure that he was playing all the strokes, and as that was going on, before one could realize, this partnership was doing a great job for England to actually amass a very good lead, as the score went on in nice fashion to 473. So when Tom Curran was out, it was 373. So it was a 100-run partnership before one could realize, and the Aussies definitely would have been frustrated. They tried their bit at Broad, but Broad actually won the battle, and then finally, just before close of play, Broad's wicket was gone with the partnership realizing exactly 100 runs. Stuart Broad was caught by Khwaja with the bowling of Cummins for a well-made 56 with 8 fours and 1 6, and a very useful knock at that. And that is the precise reason that England at stumps were 491 for 9. Alistair Cook was still going strong on 244 not out, his 5th double test century, going past some great names like Shivnarine Chandrapal, the great Sir Brian Lara, and Mahela Jayawardene as the 5th batsman as far as aggregates were concerned. And what a knock from Alistair Cook, confidence personified, really showing that what England was missing. So 491 for 9, which gave England 164 runs lead, and they were at real dictating terms to Australia now. And so they would definitely today, that is on the 4th day at the MCG, like to stretch it down to the 500 mark. So probably getting a lead of 200 on this pitch would be quite handy according to me, and then they could pile on a bit of pressure on the Aussies. So I would say this match is really set up, and England would be happy that now they can nurture hopes of not allowing Australia to clean sweep. On the other hand, trying to put the pressure on Australia and see whether they can salvage something out of this Ashes Test series by winning this particular test. But again, I think it's early days to say, because it all depends on how long England can prolong the innings, and then hope that they could nip up some, they could actually bring up that sharp bowling display that they displayed on the 2nd day to get the wickets and put the Australians on the back foot. Well, so that is something which would be known when the 4th day pans out at the MCG. Let's have a look at the bowling figures. Josh Hazlewood, 30 overs, 5 minutes, 95 runs and 3 wickets, bowled superbly. Jackson Bird was not amongst the wickets, 30 overs, 5 minutes, 108 runs and no wicket. Nathan Lyon did his job to perfection, 42 overs, 9 minutes, 109 runs and 3 wickets. And what I liked about Nathan Lyon was his ability to draw the batsmen out of the crease and force them to make mistakes. And that really helped matters for Nathan Lyon. Cummins, 29 overs, 1 minute, 317, bowled with lots of pace. Mitchell Marsh, 12 overs, 1 minute and 42, and Stephen Smith, 1 over for 11 runs. So the match, as I said, is very well set up right now, going into the 4th day, and one is hoping to really see this well-set test match going in wonderful fashion. And I think we are in for an engrossing battle in this Ashes Test match at the MCG. And probably Santa Claus in Christmas has slowly started changing the luck for England, with first their bowling display, then their batting display, and probably Santa Claus is bringing some glad tidings England's way. Well, so that is as far as this particular test match is concerned. And now let's have a look at some other cricket news that's coming my way here. There is news which is coming up which is not good news. It says that there is one thing that I need to talk about, and that is talking about, as you know, New Zealand, England, West Indies on their tour of New Zealand have so far failed. They have failed abysmally, I would say, as they have not had a single win on this particular tour, and now they are into the last leg of this New Zealand tour, where there are going to be 2 final T20 matches which is going to be played, and West Indies are having more bad news as being T20 champions. As you know, they won't be having the services of Kieron Pollard and Sunil Narine, as they have opted out due to personal reasons, and also Marlon Samuels is also not there in the squad due to an injury. So let's have a look at the squad, and I think West Indies would be breathing free a bit here, because their nemesis Trent Boult has been rested for this 2 final T20 matches of the tour. And Tim Southee is the new captain. Even Kane Williamson has been given a rest. So definitely West Indies would trust that they would try to take this opportunity to come and put it across New Zealand and probably pick up their first ever win on this T20 tour. So let's have a look at the West Indies and to see what really they can come up with. So this particular match is going to be played at Nelson. It would be a the temperature would be a bit cold as well. And looking at it, Chris Gayle failed in the first in the form one-day international, and he would be partnered with Andre Fletcher. Shimron Hetmyer, who really looked impressive, I thought, in the test matches, will be coming one drop, so he's also a very aggressive batsman. So it's an opportunity for Shimron Hetmyer to show his wares tomorrow, wares in this T20 match. There is no Kyle Hope, but there is Shai Hope, who is another very good prospect, has not really been able to hit his straps in this particular series. Jason Mohammed, another good T20 specialist. Roman Powell, another T20 specialist. So they have some wealth of all-rounders in the mix. Carlos Brathwaite, the skipper himself. Ashley Nurse, who can be trusted to play a good hand in the West Indies T20 scheme of things. Samuel Badri, the specialist spinner there, and the bowling will be in the hands of Jerome Taylor and Kesrick Williams, or whether Sheldon Cottrell would get an opportunity. And so left arm quick, Sheldon Cottrell. As far as New Zealand are concerned, they would be led by a new captain, Tim Southee. Martin Guptill and Colin Munro will open the innings. Ross Taylor, they still have some real power at the top with Martin Guptill, Colin Munro, Ross Taylor, Glenn Phillips, the wicketkeeper batsman, Henry Nichols, everybody in some very good form, I would say. Tom Bruce, Mitchell Santon, the spinner, Doug Bracewell, Lockie Ferguson, who has shown that how pacey he can be, and he's really learning very quickly, and he really is beating the West Indian batsman for pace, I can say that. Tim Southee, the skipper, and Sodhi, the right arm leggy. So we do have some real nice little T20 which is coming up, I could say that. And also we would also have a look at some other cricket news from here on in, but unfortunately I think time would be a constraint, so that really says that it's about time for me to wind up this daily cricket show of mine by signing off for the day. But keep an eye, dear fans and subscribers. As you know, I am also tweeting on the matches, so I would definitely be on to my tweets once again. So dear fans, subscribers, it was a real pleasure describing the third day's play in the Ashes Test Series, and as I said, the 4 days play promises to bring some interesting fare our way at the MCG, and hope it stays that way. And with that being said, it's about time for me to sign off on the show. Thank you.